The Haunting of Anger Bridge, the Ghost of Valak. The Anger Bridge, an old, weathered structure spanning a narrow river in the small Austrian town of Anger, has long been the subject of eerie legends and chilling tales. Known for its dark history, the bridge is said to be cursed, haunted by a vengeful spirit that walks the misty waters at night. Locals speak of an apparition, a nun-like figure with hollow eyes, a sinister presence that they believe to be the ghost of Valak. Valak's tale began long ago, tied to a tragic incident that occurred near the bridge during World War II. The exact details remain a mystery, but some claim the spirit once belonged to a nun who had taken refuge in the town's church, known for its dark rituals and an obsession with the occult. When the church was destroyed in a fire, Valak's body was never found, and it is said her restless soul found its way to the Anger Bridge, where her ghost now roams. The first encounter. One cold autumn evening, a group of university students from Vienna arrived in Anger for a weekend getaway. They had heard the rumors about the haunted bridge, but were skeptical. Hoping to experience a bit of thrill, they decided to visit the bridge after dark, equipped with nothing but their cameras and flashlights. As they crossed the bridge, the air grew colder. The sound of their footsteps echoed against the stone walls of the bridge, blending with the rushing river below. One of the students, Thomas, a skeptic and self-proclaimed ghost hunter, led the group, claiming the night would be uneventful. "You can't believe in these old legends," Thomas said, chuckling. "There's nothing here but old stone." But as the group ventured further onto the bridge, a strange feeling began to wash over them. It wasn't just the chill in the air, but an overwhelming sense of dread. It was as if the bridge itself was alive with memories, sorrow, and something far darker. Suddenly, a figure appeared before them at the far end of the bridge. A tall woman dressed in black robes, her face obscured by a dark veil, stood motionless in the mist. The group froze, unsure whether the figure was a trick of the light or something far more sinister. "The shadow of Valak, is that someone there?" whispered Clara, one of the students. Before anyone could respond, the figure began to move toward them. But there was something wrong with the way it moved, unnaturally slow, deliberate, like a predator stalking its prey. The closer it came, the more oppressive the air became, thick with an unexplainable fear. Without warning, the figure vanished, disappearing into the dense fog that had begun to roll in. The students were left stunned, their hearts pounding in their chests. No one spoke for a long moment, too frightened to move. "What just happened?" Thomas muttered, his voice shaking. The group quickly retreated off the bridge, but the terror wasn't over. As they walked away, they could hear the faint sound of footsteps behind them. Slow, deliberate footsteps that echoed across the bridge, as though someone or something was following them. The legend of Valak. The students returned to their hotel in a state of panic. None of them could shake the feeling that something had followed them, something that wasn't human. Over the next few days, they researched the history of Anger Bridge, hoping to find an explanation for the terrifying encounter. They learned of the local legend, the story of Valak, a nun who had once lived in the area. According to the tales, Valak had been part of a secretive religious order that practiced dark rituals. After her convent was destroyed in a fire, Valak's body was never found, and the townsfolk believed her spirit became trapped in the area, especially near the bridge where she had often walked. It was said that Valak's spirit had been seeking vengeance for years, and anyone who crossed the bridge after dark was at risk of encountering her. The chilling detail in many accounts was her appearance, a nun's habit, but with a sinister twist. Her eyes were said to be completely black, void of any humanity. Her presence was felt before she was seen, an overwhelming sense of dread that clung to the air like a suffocating mist. The second encounter. Days later, one of the students, Elena, returned to the bridge alone. She had become obsessed with the idea of encountering Valak once more. Armed with her camera, she ventured across the bridge at midnight, determined to capture evidence of the paranormal. As she walked along the stone path, she felt the same eerie sensation she had experienced before. The feeling of being watched, the overwhelming chill in the air. Suddenly, the fog began to roll in, thick and suffocating. The sound of footsteps echoed, growing louder and louder until they were right behind her. Elena turned, expecting to see her friends, but there was no one there. Instead, standing in front of her was the same figure, a dark, looming presence with hollow eyes and a cruel, twisted smile. "Elena," the figure whispered, its voice like a faint, distant growl. Frozen in fear, Elena dropped her camera, unable to move. The figure reached out, its cold, bony hand brushing against her cheek. She screamed and ran, but the footsteps continued to follow her, the laughter of Valak echoing in her ears. The curse of Anger Bridge. Elena's terrifying encounter was the final straw. The students left Anger, forever changed by what they had experienced. The town